The Sharpfinger knife was a purpose-built hunting knife that really excels as a skinner. Introduced in 1974, this knife is still produced today, but after 2004, production was moved to China and quality took a huge nosedive. But the really good USA-made Sharpfingers, they could still be found on places like eBay for around $50, and they're worth every penny. The Sharpfinger is basically a cross between, the classic frontier roach belly and a traditional skinner with a trailing point on it. The Sharpfinger also has a prominent choil to protect the user's fingers. For a fixed blade, the entire knife is actually small enough to be carried on a belt comfortably. The handle's made of Delrin, and in the early years of production, this blade was advertised as unbreakable, because of this Delrin handle. You have to understand, back in those days, many of the knives had scales on them that were made of unstabilized wood, which cracked easily and swelled bad in wet weather. So those knives were this was almost guaranteed not to happen with the Sharpfinger. And that was a major selling point when this knife hit the market. This knife was an instant hit with hunters, and over the years, millions of units have been sold, making the Sharpfinger one of the most popular fixed blade hunting knives in America. The thin, sharp point, it easily penetrates hide and meat. And the deeply curved belly makes skinning a pretty easy chore. The quality of steel used on the old knives was very easy to put a razor sharp edge on, even in the field with crappy sharpening equipment. If you're stuck on a fixed blade skinning knife, the Sharpfinger is probably the best design you'll find. And like the Buck 110 and other knives, the lore of the Sharpfinger went beyond just hunting. It was the preferred daily carry knife of the founder of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. Even famous street fighters, like street fighting legend Mark Animal McYoung, used this knife on the street. So in addition to its hunting legacy, it developed a good reputation in the street as a good concealable protection knife. Even though the Sharpfinger is no longer made in the USA, many other companies are copying the design. Even a lot of custom knife makers copy this design. It's become that popular. But like I said earlier, you could still find a good USA-made Sharpfinger on eBay, probably for around like $50, $60 if you want one. But there's also tens of thousands of the cheap $20 Chinese Sharpfingers that are sold today. And although the build quality isn't what it used to be, it's still a pretty decent knife for 20 bucks. Now for the bad part of this design. It's this prominent trailing point right here. This prominent trailing point makes the Sharpfinger a fantastic skinner. But it really makes it a poor knife for gutting. Especially when you're using the blade upside down to rip open the belly on a deer. This prominent trailing point, it wants to dig into the stomach and puncture the intestines, the stomach, and even the bladder. So when I carry a knife like this, or when I carry this knife, I use it for skinning duties only, and use another knife to do my gutting. But, this knife is a classic, and every hunter should have one.